Good morning, folks. Today is the second day of August, 2023. It's bright and early down here. I don't know what time it is. 10? 10 minutes till 10. On Wednesday, Tampa, Florida. Hi, folks. A couple of updates from previous stories and two new stories. But first, went to the doctor yesterday, cardiologist. My previous cardiologist, who I had since my very first pulmonary embolism, and was in the hospital for 6 days. He had retired, so I am now passed off to his protege, the guy who was following him, and now another cardiologist. And it went okay, but I got to take a bunch of tests in September. So there'll be interruptions in September, be running off doing these various tests. Shit happens. I got to do what's called a nuclear stress test, which is basically where they strap you to a table and they inject you with adrenaline and something else and get your heart rate jacked up, which seems counterintuitive if you're trying to figure out if somebody has a weak heart. But there you go. We'll cross our fingers with that. Modern science. They could just walk with you through like a scare house at Busch Gardens or something and have some teenagers screaming in your ear every 15 seconds, and that'll increase your heart rate. Anyway, that's going to happen in September. First, it's going to go all the way through September, so you'll hear about that more of that later. But for right now, I'm okay, sort of a clean bill of health. I got there and walked up the steps to the fucking store, to the office. I didn't take the elevator, so I got there and walked up the steps to the office without keeling over. So I guess that's one thing. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of news stories that are coming out now, and one of them involves Donald Trump, one involves Gonzalo Lira, and of course, the big one is Jimmy Dore and the Jimmy Dore / RFK Jr. interview. We'll start with the two shorties first, and we'll finish up on that one. Let's start with Donald Trump. There apparently are new charges being leveled against Donald Trump, and this is one of them. Here's a summary of charges. This is from NPR. Here's a summary of charges Trump is facing in Washington, D.C. for attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. Why people didn't fucking charge Hillary Clinton with this, gee, was such a shock. But she did the same thing in 2016. To the point where they were suggesting that the Electoral College voters who were voted and given the task of going and representing their votes and their will and casting their votes in our system, the Hillary Clinton campaign and Podesta and some others in the media were suggesting that the ones who were going there to cast their votes for Donald Trump because the people they represented voted for Donald Trump changed their vote and vote for Hillary Clinton instead. And they were saying it's not illegal to do so. You can look that up. That's a fact. Donald Trump never suggested that. But aside from that, this is the one count of conspiracy to defraud the United States charge. It applies to Trump's repeated and widespread efforts to spread false claims about the November 2020 election while knowing they were not true, and for allegedly attempting to illegitimately discount legitimate election systems. That's right, boys and girls. They now can charge you, according to this, they can charge you for saying the electronic voting machines are rigged. The electronic voting machines are in fact rigged. The vast majority of the nations across the world will not use electronic voting machines because they know for a fact proprietary software determines how the votes are counted. And because it's proprietary software and a business is involved, we're not allowed to take those machines prior to the election, pull the fucking memory cards that holds the fucking hack on them. We've seen this multiple times. And evaluate the coding on the fucking memory card that tells the machine how to count the fucking votes. That's why the vast majority of other nations in the world will not use them. And for telling you that, apparently, I can be charged with a felony, in spite of the fact that it is 100% true. That's why we're leading with that one. I'm leading with that one. I don't know who we is. We and fucking, you know, the mouse in my pocket. I don't know. Me and the mouse in my pocket. I couldn't even get that right. That's true. I can be, according to this, the message to the plebes is, if you spread wide efforts to spread false claims, what they claim are false claims, in spite of the fact that they are actual, they are truthful, they are legitimate claims, you can apparently go to prison. Congratulations, folks. That's the world we live in. ABC News reported this. Federal prosecutors said in their indictment of Trump that he had the right to formally challenge the result of the 2020 presidential election, but the behavior became criminal over a months-long effort that attempted to discount legitimate voters and subvert the results. What does that mean? Well, Trump had the right, like every American, to speak publicly about the election and even to claim falsely that there had been outcome determinative fraud during the election and that he had actually won. Prosecutor said in court, you have a right to do that. You just don't have a right to be convincing and to continue to do that and to convince people that that is true and that there is a problem. You can't do that, apparently. So maybe I'm not actually committing a felony because so few people watch my fucking website. Maybe the more effective you are, the higher ranking felony. It goes from citation to misdemeanor to felony, depending on how many views you get. I have no idea. But that's some serious fucking gaslighting. The problem with them is they want to pretend that you still have the right of free speech. It is gaslighting, in a sense. Of course you have the right to free speech. Don't say that. You have the right to speak openly about whatever you want. Just don't say fucking that. You can talk in this country about everything. That's why we have the First Amendment. The First Amendment is perfect. The First Amendment is wonderful. We should all love the First. Shut the fuck up! We all need to love and support and respect the fact that we have the First Amendment rights to talk about things that are allowed to be talked about. That's some 1984 shit. That's some George Orwell shit. To be honest. That's gaslighting. That'll make you crazy. Excuse me. That'll make you fucking crazy. So there's some new charges against Trump. They're just throwing anything out there. They just toss anything out there. Fuck it. Hit him with seditious conspiracy. Sedition. They haven't done that since fucking Eugene Epps. Epps? No. Debs. Eugene Debs. They haven't done that since Debs. God damn. Anyway. That's point number one. Point number two, Gonzalo Lira. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. This dude, worshiper at the altar of fucking Augusto Pinochet. One of the worst fucking dictators in his fucking military uniform costume, complete with 1 million goddamn fucking medals. Our puppet that we put in place when we had to get rid of Allende, Salvador Allende. This guy loved him. This guy was a big fan of fucking Pinochet. And of course, the neoliberal, fascist, free marketeers that went down there from the Milton Friedman School in fucking University of Chicago, School of Economics, to impose the economic brick on what they considered to be a laboratory in 1973. They dropped the brick on the people of Chile. And they rounded up and they disappeared and they killed and they tortured anybody who opposed our puppet that we put in place. This guy, Gonzalo Lira, is a big fan. That's Pepe Escobar. Pepe Escobar, a real leftist. Hater of all things Pinochet. Singing this dickhead's praises on this fake exodus, great escape he's making from fucking Ukraine. This is stupid. Gonzalo telling his harrowing, stunning, and cinematographic, I don't know what the fuck that word is, story. I guess he's trying to say it's made for TV movie. He's now 5 kilometers from the Hungarian border. Oh my God. He's posting these little fucking things, these little snippets, talking about where he is. He's lost the fucking hat, so he's got to show off his exceedingly bald head, which is why he wears the hat. Tim Pool. But here he is making his great escape. Let me play just a bit of this. You look at him and you say, you know what? He looks like he's heavier. So somehow he's supposedly in an SBU, in a Ukrainian prison. And I went to jail for 28 days once. I lost weight. He was in this thing for 28 days or so. Gained weight, apparently. He looks just fine. He's looking good. You want to know why he's looking good? He covers that in the first 41 seconds. He's got the fucking spin for that. You're like, he's in a fucking vicious prison. The SBU took him. The Nazis of the Nazis. Their version of the SS in Ukraine. They took him because of all that truth he was telling. And apparently they let him go so he could just hang out in Ukraine and wait to go to trial and be sentenced to 20 years. And so he decided to run, Forrest, run. You look at yourself and say, the SBU, they really do kill journalists. There are a number who have actually been fucking killed and disappeared. Real ones. Not this staged bullshit. Real ones. And Pepe Escobar, a journalist, who is well aware of what Ukraine does to journalists in that country, is pushing this fake bullshit. And you say to yourself, Scott, he looks pretty good. There's no broken nose, black eye, missing teeth, scars, nothing. The only thing is his fucking hat is gone. Now we see why, when he ran the manosphere websites, he kept talking about all those women coming after him. Just look at that. He's fucking virility incarnate. You can see women just flocking to this specimen. Why? I wonder why he looks so much better now than he did when he was living outside before he went to jail. There's an answer for that.
Repetitively and so hard that it left this huge bruise. And by the way, the cell boss, the guy higher, berated him for having left a mark on me, because of course the kind of torture that they want to do doesn't leave a mark. That's the point of it.
That's the point of it. Oh, they tortured the shit out of me. They did all this horrible stuff to me. Well, let me see the bruises. Let me see the scars. They're so insidious. The kind of torture they did. There's no mark. And I gained 15 pounds. Insidious. What a fucking fraud, man. You know what he's like? He's doing this thing now where he's supposedly traipsing across fucking Ukraine. And he thinks the SBU is after him. Somebody's after him. He doesn't want the Ukrainians to figure out he's making a run for the border. I wonder if he'll start doing Taco Bell commercials. That would be funny. But apparently, Pepe Escobar, you stupid fuck, or you corrupt fuck, who, by the way, maybe points out, rightly so, this guy fucking demonizes people like Erdogan as a sultan. He was right on a couple of things. He was very good writer and very good reporter for a while, but like most times, they get bought up. Someone told me a long time ago, be careful of anybody once they reach a certain level of fucking visibility. And she had, and she sold out, and she was telling me, remember I told you earlier in this video, I'm still at citation level. I haven't even made it to fucking misdemeanor or fucking felony level charges for talking about the rigged election systems we have here. I'm nobody. Nobody cares about me. However, Pepe Escobar was certainly well above that, and so he's done this shit in the past. What this reminds me of is, I mean, it's a turn on the. Okay, they couldn't carry him out of his fucking out of the embassy holding a Gore Vidal prop in his hand with the UC Global, the UC Global fucking goons who were contracted by the CIA to spy on his people. By the way, those guys carried him out, and of course, at the protest, every protest now. Greta Thunberg gets hired and they pick her up and carry her right to the fucking press. I mean, it happens all the fucking time. The staging of the AOC fucking weeping scene next to that fucking fence. By the way, 2 feet on the other side, the gate is wide open and the parking lot she's weeping at because she's seeing all this horror is completely empty. It's just a parking lot. But of course, taking a picture of her weeping next to the fence with her professional photographers who were there for the money shot, that's more dramatic. This is the same thing. The only difference is this time, instead of carrying him out, the SBU carried him out of fucking jail and let him go because they're so worried about his journalism. They let him go. They didn't kill him like they've done many other real fucking reporters. Instead, they let him go. And now he's so worried about them catching him trying to run away, he's doing live video vlogs of his trip. Psst. Come here. Come closer. Come here. They don't need to geolocate his position based on whatever's in the background that he's filming. It doesn't matter if you say, turn on geolocate my cell phone, turn off geolocate my cell phone. It's always being geolocated. So, as he's telling all these people on Facebook or YouTube or whatever he's doing, Twitch, whatever he's fucking doing. Okay, this is me. I'm making a run for the border. I'm such a hero. When I get back there, I expect a big fucking parade for me because I'm such a hero. I told you all that truth about Pinochet. As he's doing that, they could be watching him go, oh, he's leaving. Where is he? Right now yeah, he's right here. Okay, call up our guys in the town he's on his way to and take him out in the field. That's what would happen. But that's not what's happening. Pepe Escobar. Why? It's fake. Just like his bullshit about the... He actually says in that interview, I watched the first 40 seconds and it made me throw up twice. Because it was so fucking fake. So, but the first thing he says is, oh, well, the guards, they didn't beat me. That's for the prisoners to do, the other prisoners to do that. But they're so good at it. They're so good at torture. Oh, there's no fucking marks. And I gained 10 pounds. You better eat that fucking filet mignon. I don't want any more. You better fucking eat it. You better eat all of it. Don't forget the asparagus. And the au jus. You better drink that fucking au jus. Whose line of coke is that? Well, I've done enough. You better fucking do that goddamn line. Okay. If you believe Gonzalo Lira is a hero escaping the SBU, and he's giving you Daniel Larson-like updates on his cell phone as he flees the country, then you are a fucking moron. Period. You're just a fucking moron. And that brings us to, I believe... I'm sorry. He's making me fucking violent. I'm getting ready to throw up. Oh my God, I gotta get that guy off of here. Jimmy Dore. The Jimmy Dore interview with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That's a big thing yesterday. It was all over Twitter. Big thing yesterday, all over Twitter. He's got 2 short little clips. And I believe the rest is... Look at this. He learns how to make fucking thumbnails from watching what's trending in the gaming community. Anyway, he's got 2 clips from a 3-hour interview with this guy. The rest of it is behind a paywall. And it's not just any paywall. It's his paywall that is the premium level paywall, which means you got to pay $15 to Jimmy Dore so he can live in a mansion and his wife can live like a queen and walk around with her fucking appendage dog. It's not an appendage dog. It's a accessory dog. She has an accessory dog that she carries around in a bag. Jesus God. It's behind a paywall. And it was, when it was live, it was behind a paywall. Now understand this. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing a panel discussion with 5 people on the left, and I think some of the alt-right, about the evils of fucking censorship. Censorship, bad. Because, of course, they're talking about the censorship. Mostly they'll be focusing on the censorship of... they'll mostly be focusing on the censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop back in 2020. That was censored. The information about that was censored off social media by the will of the fucking Federal Bureau of Investigation and others. So that's what they're going to talk about, censorship. Meanwhile, the interview that was so offensive, so incredibly offensive, if the reports that I've read about it are accurate, is being censored by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s people and by Jimmy Dore specifically. I know that it is behind a paywall, supposedly the whole thing. I know it was when it was live, it was behind a paywall. That's a form of censorship. But from what we saw on his website, you see 2 clips. Only 2. Like 8 minutes and 20 minutes. And that's because they were the only ones, I believe, that people on the fucking left would find anything remotely fucking sympathetic with. The rest, he was basically singing the praises. We need comprehensive immigration reform in order to open up those borders for big business. He's a big business guy. He's a free marketeer. He's a fucking neocon and a Zionist, by the way. I mean, all these things just scream left to me, don't they to you? He also is staunchly opposed to universal health care. By the way, Jimmy Dore he helped bring in every member of the squad. At times when people like myself and others were pointing out before they had even gotten through their primaries, these people aren't fucking left. Specifically, Ilhan Omar was one that was harder to fucking figure prior, but certainly AOC. But he, of course, promoted the shit out of AOC and promoted the shit out of AOC because Jimmy Dore loves being what he thinks of himself as a kingmaker. And how do I know he thinks of himself? Because he said that to Tim Pool during an interview with Tim Pool, a chat with Tim Pool. He sees himself as that. And he helped get people to vote for the small number that actually did vote for AOC. That election, by the way, that primary election between her and Joe Crowley was rigged. It was stolen from Crowley. Just a fact. Nobody ever talks about that. Did happen. But he helped bring fucking the squad into office. And then when they weren't going to push for universal health care, he turned on him. He got mad at him. He said they're frauds. This guy literally told him yesterday he's not going to support universal health care because he believes in the markets. He believes in fucking insurance companies making lots of money. Because that's freedom. What did fucking Jimmy Dore do? Nothing. Because Jimmy Dore is a soulless, blood-sucking opportunist who will kiss anyone's ass if it's going to advance the amount of money he makes on his YouTube channel. As long as he can stay rich, he's not going to make any fucking waves. And that's a fact. So, of course, don't expect to see that for free anywhere on Jimmy Dore's channels. Multiple channels. Being run by multiple fucking interns. I'm sure he's not paying them a goddamn thing while he lives like a fucking king. because of all that talent he's got. Hard work. By the way, you guys do remember that this guy was a sycophant and sucking up to TYT for years. I mean years. When it was obvious TYT was a goddamn shill, and a free market shill at that. He was still suckled right up to him on that teat, hanging on with his fucking nails dug in as deep as he fucking could. And his canine sunk into his fucking, into Senkuga's fucking bosom. That's a horrible image, by the way. My brain goes places it probably shouldn't. That's Jimmy Dore. Some of you guys out there are still fans. I can't imagine why. So they're censoring the stuff that they don't want people to see. I thought that maybe, he would backtrack a little bit, and RFK Jr. and Jimmy Dore would give him a little bit of pressure. I told you he wouldn't give him much. He gave him none. Zip, zilch, zero, nada, nothing. He let him lie. He let him try to push his Zionist lies on his audience, on the left, and he never said a word about it. All he kept saying was, according to at least one source, all he kept saying was, well, I wish I knew more about the situation to offer some pushback, but I don't. Because he's stupid. Because he doesn't do the research. He's not a journalist. This thing popped up because he mentioned it, I'm sure because Max Blumenthal told him to, because he's part of the Max Blumenthal network. Max Blumenthal said, hey, see if you can get him to do an interview directly with me, and we'll do a discussion about fucking Israel. And so he brought that up. Everyone says that RFK Jr. Agreed to it. RFK Jr. did not agree to it. If you go back and watch the actual interaction, and I've seen it clipped by other people. We'll get to that in a second. But if you go back and watch the actual clip, what he says was, as he's saying, you were pissed off because this asshole who was saying all this stuff, you wanted to debate him about this, and he wouldn't do it. He was running. And so you're kind of coming across, Jimmy, this is the only little pushback he gave him, trying to push him into a discussion with his boss, with Max Blumenthal. So, and he said, RFK Jr. says, well, you can't really, reward people like Blumenthal because Blumenthal is really one-sided. I'll read you some of the stuff that he was saying. It's offensive. It'll make your blood boil, make your blood curl. If you are really on the side of humanity, and if you're on the real left, not the fake left, but the real left, or in some cases the real alt-right, it'll make your blood boil. But he said, Max Blumenthal says he's got one point of view and that's it. I told you how many fucking lies Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in his fucking sweeping endorsement of all things Zionist in Israel, including, but not limited to, the lie that fucking Egypt and all the fucking Arab nations suddenly, without warning, attacked Israel in 1967 in the Six-Day War. That is a blatant, outright, 100% fucking lie. Israel attacked. Israel attacked Syria, and Israel attacked fucking Egypt. While their air forces, their air forces were on the fucking ground. They weren't even airborne. They were not at a battle-ready state in the slightest. And Israel just snuck in there in the dead of night and bombed the shit out of them. And they happened to have 3 fucking warplanes, fighters, painted black, ready to go, try to sink the USS Liberty to pull the United States in so they could say Egypt did it. It was all orchestrated. It was all pre-motivated. It was preemptive. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. lied about it. He lied about a lot of things. He's a fucking liar. That's what it makes it. A fucking liar. He is a Zionist, and he is a liar. But some people out there are still willing to give him a pass because of all the great work he did on COVID-19. By the way, all that great work he did on COVID-19, on the mRNA jabs, I'll give you $10 if you can tell me where it is on this front page of the Children's Health Defense Network. I'll give you $10 right now. I'm going to scroll through here. You tell me. Vaccine Safety Project says nothing about COVID-19 and nothing about the mRNA jabs. Nothing. Zero. Zip. A mandate for safer childhood vaccines. Again, nothing about COVID-19 mRNA. Nothing. Zero. Zip. I'll give you $10 right now. You tell me where it is. You show me where it is. Talking about infant vaccines linked to increase in all-case mortality. Again, not about fucking mRNAs. Not about COVID. True. Vaccines have fucked up our kids. There are more kids with autism because of, and other long-lasting fucking illnesses, because of these fucking vaccines. Which is where he started. That's the end of the fucking website. And no one gets the $10. You know why? Because on his website, he got all of you and all of us to say, hey, this guy's on our side. Talking about COVID-19 specifically and the mRNA jabs, he has scrubbed it all from the front page of his fucking website. All of it. You pull up what his website looked like in February of this year. You can go to the Wayback Machine, do it. Tell me he hasn't scrubbed up that website. Is that censorship? Come here. Come here. I'm closer. Come here. Yes. I'm such a dick. Who is the biggest donor to RFK Jr. Super PAC? Now, that was something that was brought up last week by that harpy from the fake left, the Democratic Party. But it's a good question. The Super PAC, what? Save America Fund, Super Fund, what's it called? American Values. We got American values. Insurance payments. Fuck the homeless. Private, for-profit, charter school educations. Go big business. American values. The American Values 2024 Super PAC had one main supporter who paid for over half of it in terms of to the tune of $5 million, and he's probably given more since then. That was Timothy Mellon. Yes, indeed, boys and girls. Andrew Mellon's grandson, a goddamn robber baron. A goddamn robber baron's grandson, promoting this free market pushing, universal healthcare hating, China hating, China blaming for something everyone knows, even fucking Robert Malone knows, had nothing to do with making fucking COVID-19. Even Alex Jones knows, not this dumb fuck. Why? Probably because that $5 million to American Values Probably because that $5 million is paying for all these motherfuckers who are still on the Bobby Kennedy Jr. bandwagon, in spite of the fact that he is a clear goddamn neocon and Zionist. Did you know, allegedly, his second wife, they were going to get a divorce. She's the one who gave him 4 kids. He likes them younger. Even though this next wife, who's a trophy wife, she's a little bit younger, but not super young. She's the actress. She's probably the beard. He runs around and has sex with other women. Now, allegedly, word was that someone came to the second wife with, or she found somehow, his journal that listed by name all these conquests of his. Women he had fucked. And their age. And given himself different stars and different fucking ratings for his performance. There are photographs of this thing at one time. Allegedly. There are photographs. It's allegedly of that. She ends up, they're going to get a divorce. She ends up hanging herself away from the compound, the glorious compound. So as, I guess, when the police come and they tape shit off, it won't interfere with entertaining that has to take place in the compound. Very thoughtful of her to do that. Then they say that it was him that was going to file for divorce and that she was mentally disturbed. You guys remember that kind of shit that was happening back in the 50s and up until the 50s? Oh, she's mentally disturbed. She wants a fucking... It's always a woman. She's always mentally disturbed. I wonder what that would have done to the Kennedy reputation, to Camelot, had yet another fucking male candidate turned out to be a fucking womanizer. And lost his kids in the process. Yet she committed suicide. Allegedly. That's what you're fucking voting for. That's what you're supporting. Now, and again, hat tip to Aunt BB for bringing that story to my attention. This is why I am doing this. By the way, I just want you to remember that's what he said when he talked about Israel being an oasis of democracy. And by the way, he said IDF never targeted civilians. There's the facts in his face. They're the facts in his face. I've covered that multiple times. I want to read a little bit of this to you. This is from someone named Sun Eyes. I don't know what the fuck. At Zelle_squirrel. At Zelle_squirrel and anybody else. I put out a request. If anybody knows where I can view the entire unedited fucking interview, I would love to do so. Because I will do a full evaluation of the stuff and put it back out there so people can see it. Here's the deal, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. You talk about fucking things that you shouldn't be able to put behind a firewall. One of them is interviews with candidates that it's important for people to see so they can make a determination as to whether or not they want to financially support their candidacy or vote for them. Those are the things you don't put behind fucking firewalls, behind paywalls. Paywalls. Okay? Jimmy Dore. Unless, of course, you're trying to censor it. You're trying to keep that information from a certain segment of the people who you expect to vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. By the way, Max Blumenthal is now saying that what's-his-face backed out of it. I didn't finish that. I'm sorry. He didn't say he would do it. He says, he said, I would like to, which everyone says that means he agreed to do it. No, that means he says, I would like to, but my Zionist friend over there, Shmuley, thinks it's a bad idea. I would like to, but it might make me look bad in the lead up to the election. I would like to, but you get the point. He said he would like to. He didn't say, yes, I'll do it. I would like to be a different human, a better human being, says Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but he won't do it. According to Max Blumenthal, he's not going to do it. This is somebody who was watching it and was writing and was tweeting as he was watching it. Again, this is at Zelle, my eyes are so bad. I think it's ZEI_squirrel. ZEI_squirrel. This is what he wrote. Now, I can't verify it because I wasn't watching it, but this is what he was saying. As he was watching it, RFK Jr. just repeated the smear that Ilhan Omar is an anti-Semite for applying a different standard to Israel. He said Iran is behind an apartheid regime, Dore's just sitting there letting him rant. Remember when Dore shouted at Cornel West against Anderson Cooper just days ago? Continuing, after a 5-minute rant where RFK Jr. said Palestinians teach their children to kill Jews. They steal, they rob, they're corrupt, they're terrorists. Jimmy Dore literally responded with, well, I just don't know enough to push back on that. Jimmy Dore just asked him why every human rights organization calls Israel an apartheid state. And RFK Jr. says that's anti-Semitism. All human rights organizations hate the Jews, according to RFK Jr. That's his logic. And Dore let him get away with it. Nothing about how he's equating the Israeli regime with Jews. Dore, on another lie, I'm not smart enough to answer that. He just kept saying that. Jimmy Dore's entire shtick is now to play dumb on the genocidal Israeli regime and says he doesn't know enough about it to push back, and he threw the responsibility for it on Max Blumenthal. This is Dore's way to get his cult audience to defend him. And he's got a point there, too. Dore's following now is just a fucking cult. Look at that picture of him down below with that fucking plastered smirk on his face. I was talking to Barbara, and I was talking to her saying that we were talking about Jimmy Dore. And I said, it's like if you watch Jimmy Dore, he makes me sick watching him. But I will watch the video if I can find it. If somebody can link it to me, I can find it. And I'll do an evaluation of it. Watching Jimmy Dore, what did they used to call that thing? And she gave me the fucking name of it, and I forgot it already. Back in the day, before most of you were alive, when there was none of these things to walk around and stare at like this all day long, they had these stupid little things with these two little things that fit over your eyes, and it was a machine, and it was plastic, and it let light in, and you could take discs, about 20 different pictures on each disc, small ones, and you could drop it into the top of this thing, and you can go and it would click, and you go and it would the next one and the next one. Forget the name of that. But that's what Jimmy Dore, that's what I think of when I have to watch fucking Jimmy Dore. He's going from one facial expression to another, to another, to another, to another. he's just click, 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 click. You can see him consciously make the decision. Which of these fucking things in this wheel of emotional fucking of masks he has is going to look most appropriate while this guy is saying this? He's incapable, because he's so self-conscious about the fucking camera. He's incapable of doing anything authentic. He is so artificial. It's like a G.I. Joe doll. He's a fucking G.I. Joe doll. He's plastic. His face is plastic. I was never a big fan of fucking Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey did the same thing, and I'm sure because he was a comedian, Jimmy Dore just loves him some Jim Carrey, so he decided to turn into a fucking reporter, influencer / version of the Jim Carrey fucking mask face dude, mask face comedian. I don't know. But whatever it is, I can't watch him. I can't look at him, because every time I look at him, I just see always going from this fake expression to this fake expression to that fake expression. There's just nothing there, which is why not only could he not push back in any reasonable way, because he doesn't do any fucking research. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit about anybody but the people who live in his fucking house. And I don't know, they might have a fucking different opinion about that. JFK just repeated the deranged lie that Israel only deliberately attacks military targets, which I can't pull it up now. Well, I will, because it is a deranged fucking lie. This is not going to be the right one. Oh, here you go. Yeah. IDF never targets civilians. We're schmooly. The IDF never targets civilians. The IDF never targets civilians. Ever. According to this liar. Who wants to fucking hire a liar for the White House? You raise your hand, please. Go ahead. RFK Jr. just repeated the deranged lie that Israel only deliberately attacks military targets. Jimmy Dore finally gives some pushback. I covered those stories. Then RFK Jr. gets back to ranting uninterrupted. Dore lets him go with that lie and repeat it and affirm it. RFK Jr. is unfurling the most deranged genocidal narrative of the Israeli genocidal settler colonialism against Palestine, calling Palestinians anti-Semitic terrorists, monsters, evil villains who want to kill all Jews. And Dore just sits there with his mask on, saying nothing. RFK Jr. repeated an unhinged lie about Palestinians being able to kill Jews and get paid for it. Dore's response, I don't know enough to push back on that. And right now, he's repeating his insane, deranged, genocidal Israeli propaganda, lobby propaganda. And Dore's just sitting there watching. At the final part of the public jerk-off session, he gave RFK Jr. He brought up his Israel, his Israeli stance, with the softest softball questions. What did you mean by unconditional support for Israel? And then he let him lie uninterrupted, no pushback. Remember all the unhinged alcoholic ranting he did at Bernie and AOC and the squad for not supporting Medicare for all, even though they said they would? RFK Jr. does not even say it. Dore just sat there and let him do his I support the public option bullshit. There's your hero. But he pushes privatized health care. For-profit healthcare systems. So, that's where we're at with that. And I guess the reason I brought that up is I really need anybody, if you can, to link to me or us in the comment section, if you can. Anything you can find on a link to where I can watch the entire interview, not his edited clips. I don't even believe you can watch the full thing. If you paid, you have to be a member, a premium member, not just a $5 a month scrub member, a premium member. You got to watch the fucking interview. What a piece of fucking shit. What a money-grubbing piece of shit fucking Jimmy Dore is. But now apparently the whole thing is either the whole thing is behind that premium fucking paywall, or I bet you most likely they've edited even that and taken out the parts that aren't flattering for the his campaign in terms of the left. Would be my guess. I would love to find it. If I can find it, I will fucking put the whole goddamn thing out there. I don't care, and I'll put it on YouTube. And if he wants to fucking fight me on copyright or try to give me a strike on it, he can be my guest. But it's called journalism. And at this point in time, when this guy, RFK Jr., is asking for your vote, specifically the people in his fucking audience on the left, Jimmy Dore's audience, not his cult followers, his left audience, to have his stuff behind a fucking paywall is offensive. Especially if it could be damaging to if he's doing it for the purposes of censorship. So, if you have it, let me know where it is. I'll download it and publish the whole thing on BitChute, on YouTube, on Substack, on my website, everywhere. I said before, I'll say it again. Max Blumenthal is the wrong person. If by some people are pushing for someone to fucking have a debate about Israel, Palestine with Max Blumenthal, Max Blumenthal is bought and paid for. He'd suck up to this fucking melon guy just as fast as fucking RFK Jr. would. It's fact. I'll tell you who wouldn't. Me, for one. I would decimate RFK Jr. in a debate on Palestine. I would destroy him, and it wouldn't be fucking hard. But not to make it about myself, I'll tell you who would send him weeping into the fucking wings of the fucking stage someplace. To go cry in the fucking bosom, the warm embrace of Shmuley, and that's Norman Finkelstein. Norman Finkelstein would crush him and embarrass him. And Norman Finkelstein is very, very capable of doing that. He has done it many times in the past. And I get the feeling, I looked over Norman Finkelstein's Substack, I don't see anything in support of fucking RFK Jr. Certainly not now. So if y'all want to push for RFK Jr. to try to defend his fucking position against somebody, you want with Max, fine. Max is choice C. I think choice B would clearly be yours truly. I would destroy him. I would decimate him. But, going all the way back to fucking the Balfour Agreement, which he never fucking mentioned, in which he lied about the actual original creation of Israel in the first place. You can't leave out the Balfour Agreement and when you talk at all about the fucking creation of Israel, ever. You certainly can't forget about the Nakba as well. But, and he'd have to fucking he'd have to fucking come up with some kind of explanation for why Israel attacked fucking the United States fucking Navy. Tried to sink the USS Liberty, killed 38 fucking sailors, injured another fucking 100. And the only reason they stopped was because they realized there was a Soviet submarine watching the whole goddamn thing. And of course, the five torpedoes that they had from the torpedo boats, they missed 4 of them, and only 1 of them fucking landed. That's how effective the Israeli fucking Navy is. Whoo! They're fucking awesome, huh? But I would be Plan B. Plan A is certainly, without a doubt. Well, you could. Okay, I'd be okay. Plan D would be fucking Max Blumenthal. Plan C would be yours truly. Plan B would be Cynthia McKinney. She would destroy him. But would she have the tenacity? I'm sure she would, because she's not in the States anymore. And of course, Plan A would be Norman Finkelstein. There are your options. Please, if anybody knows where this full video is, I will gladly do an evaluation and pick out all the parts that they are trying to keep folks on the left from seeing, and do a good video on that, as well as I will put the entire fucking thing up unedited for everyone to see, because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that's what fucking journalists do. And as we are rushing into this fucking election season, we shouldn't be hiding and picking and choosing what statements our goddamn candidates are making right now going into this fucking season. It's not like something he did, oh, I don't know, to his second wife, allegedly. It's not like something he did 20 years ago. That's what's going on now. What else is going on now? I don't know. You tell me. I still got that $10. You see anything? Yeah. Good. I need my $10. I don't live in a fucking mansion.